These are women from the ages of 27 to 34. They're women that are in the danger zone.
Well, fire me up some Kenny Loggins.
They're considered old for dating.
To men who think like you, which I would reiterate to women in the supposed danger zone, what exactly would you be missing out on if you weren't able to date men who think like this?
They bring a lot more emotional baggage and trauma to the dating marketplace.
Yeah, men don't bring any emotional baggage or trauma to the dating marketplace. The older you get, the more life you experience, the more that you go through. It's inevitable for all of us. What matters most is how you handle and process the experiences that you've had in your life.
They have higher expectations, but they offer less.
By expectations, do you mean standards, boundaries, and parameters on what they will and won't tolerate in a relationship, which they developed and embodied as a direct result from their past relationship experiences? Do they offer less, or do they put up with less?
They're getting closer and closer to the age of high-risk pregnancies, so the pressure for children and a family is greater.
There is a time period which is most optimal. If women wish to pursue having children, that's when they should do it. And while these men continue to bang on about high-risk pregnancy for women over a certain age, it actually applies also to women under a certain age. Keep in mind, a man who wants kids and a man who wants to be a father are two different questions. People don't have an issue with men dating younger women. People take issue with full grown-up adult men who wish to pursue women who've barely legally been an adult for that long. Also, how many 18 to 25-year-old women are interested in starting families right away?
There is no more anti-female statement.
Yeah, women aren't that receptive to being called females, just FYI.
And when I see other women come into the comments section and lie, these men just want to date young women because they're vulnerable and manipulatable.
When you're younger, you're more naive and have less experience to the workings of the world. And unfortunately, the world is riddled with people who see no issue in taking advantage of that. And why would women say that? Are we under the impression that men have never done that?
That's just basically saying no young women can think for themselves.
It actually isn't. If these older women were saying these young women are too naive and stupid to realize they've been manipulated, you might have had a point. But by your own words, that's not what these older women are saying.
It takes all of the agency away from women to make their own decisions.
Young women's agency to make their own decisions hasn't been taken away at all. You just don't like that there's outside influence providing more information to these young women to perhaps reconsider their decision. And if you're a good man with good intentions who puts his best foot forward, this shouldn't bother you because it doesn't obviously apply to you, does it?
And it's the most misogynistic statement I think I've read in a long time.
How is older women advising younger women to be mindful of men who are much older than them who wish to pursue a relationship with them? Because they may not have good intentions and have ulterior motives with this pursuit, in which you perhaps haven't even figured out what you want and don't want for a relationship because you are younger with less relationship experience. I fail to see how that is misogynistic and not just older women looking out for younger women, in which said younger women can take on the information or just ignore it completely.
People want to date young women because they're easily manipulated, and that's being written by other women.
Well, why would the women write this? Are they speaking from experience? Maybe it's what happened to them when they were the young women.
How about young women are more attractive on the whole to men because they don't come with trauma?
Not necessarily true.
They don't have a high body count.
Not necessarily true.
They're younger and fitter.
Younger, yes. Fitter, not necessarily true.
And they have a lot longer time before the pressure of put a baby in me starts to kick in.
Am I meant to believe you've encountered plenty of women who wanted you to put a baby in them? This is also very heavily reliant on these young women being interested in pursuing starting a family with these much older men, and that these younger women are ready to start these families in this period of their lives. Irrespective of the man they're in a relationship with who's in a different stage of his own life, who's ready to have a family with them.
Fact is that in the dating marketplace, with age, men's value increases, women's decreases.
What's so stupid about this concept? It boils down to men and women's lives are basically on an escalator. Men's lives are on this escalator, women's lives are on this escalator. Irrespective of any input and effort that you put into your own life. Men's value will go up regardless and women's value will go down regardless. Imagine being a woman in a relationship with a man who thinks like this. As you grow old together, he believes that his value is increasing and believes your value is decreasing.
It is a sad double standard.
They don't find women attractive up to a certain age. But if he's going to get into a relationship with you, you're going to get to that age at one point.
The fact is, women hit their peak value earlier in life.
And again, I ask the danger zone ladies, what exactly would you be missing out on if you weren't in a relationship with a man who thinks like this?
And how great is that?
Isn't it great?
Let's say you're young and you're attractive and you're a woman, pick a high value guy early and you've already won.
Have they though? Is that high value guy going to stick around when she enters the danger zone?
Men are the ones that have to go out there and accumulate value over time.
By value, he means money. And I think it's sad that so many men work themselves into the ground because they believe the only thing they can offer a woman is money.
And that's a double standard men are comfortable with.
There are endless women out there making their own money who are not seeking a relationship with a man just for his money. But men like you won't date them. And we can easily speculate as to why.
But when we point out that there's a double standard that goes against women, the internet fucking goes into a frenzy.
What I've noticed about the majority of people who love to talk about double standards, they never apply it to things that are actually double standards.
What makes a man high value?
I wonder what he is about to say.
He's rich, or at least accumulating wealth.
The same bloke who said this.
I'm not a big fan of going, we no longer need men for finances. It's sexist because it lowers men down to a wallet.
Complaining about women reducing men to wallets, whilst at the same time promoting the message, a man's value to women is determined by how much money he makes.
He's young, I would say anywhere between the age of 30 and 50.
If this is not an example of moving the goalposts.
Men just get a lot longer time in the market because we're not in a biological rush.
Men's fertility does decrease, it's just a bit later than women.
It's just a sad double standard, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's unbelievably common how many 18-year-old women want to start families immediately with 50-year-old men. A high-value man is a man with money. That's it. He offers nothing else. Accumulating wealth and making lots of money is not something people come into overnight. It is a long-term commitment. With reports out there that the average age that someone becomes a millionaire is between 50 and 60 years old. And if you make your own money as a woman, congratulations. Apparently now you're a high-value man. The one thing that would always stick out for me when men would speak this way about wanting to date much younger women, they never express having any interest in who these women are as people. They solely focus on their age and their ability to provide them children. The only thing that I would reiterate to younger women is really examine the character of the man who thinks like this. Because these men are signaling they will value you less as a woman as you get older. Is that the mindset of a man who's long-term relationship material? And I rope it back to you. What exactly would you be missing out on if men who think like this wouldn't pursue dating you? If more and more women come to the conclusion that settling in a relationship with a man who thinks like this is totally unappealing, guess then who will end up in the danger zone?